congressional franchise to operate television and radio stations. As prescribed by the American Insular Government Era Act No. 3846, or the Radio Control Act, which became effective in 1931, broadcasting networks require a congressional franchise to operate television and radio stations, which usually last for up to 25 years. ABS-CBN, which had been operating since June 13, 1946, and made its first television broadcast on October 23, 1953, had last been granted a 25-year franchise extension on March 30, 1995 by virtue of Republic Act No. 7966, but later implemented on May 4, 1995. This expired on May 4, 2020, as upheld by the Department of Justice (DOJ). ABS-CBN market. The ABS-CBN broadcast network is acknowledged to be one of the Philippines' oldest and most influential media networks, run by the Lopez family. The company generates about 50 to 60% of the group's total annual revenue, mainly from selling airtime of its television and radio properties to advertisers. The remaining revenue is generated from consumer sales through distribution of cable and international channels, as well as operations of over-the-top platform services, and a family entertainment center in Taguig. According to the Philippine Competition Commission, ABS-CBN Corporation controlled somewhere between 31% and 44% of the Philippines' total television market as of 2020. Press freedom and democracy issues. The Philippines is touted to have the freest and liveliest press in Asia, where media is considered a watchdog and a fourth estate, helping to maintain the checks and balances of democratic governance. Despite this, the country is consistently ranked as one of the world's most dangerous countries for journalists. In May 2020, it slipped 2 spots down to 136th place out of 180 countries in the World Press Freedom Index. Media watchdogs such as Reporters Without Borders, the Center for Media Freedom and Responsibility, Amnesty International, the Photojournalists Center of the Philippines (PCP), Foreign Correspondents Association of the Philippines (FOCAP), and the Consortium on Democracy and Disinformation (D&D), have noted that various forms of attacks against the press have increased since the Duterte administration came to power in 2016, with the Philippine Daily Inquirer, news website Rappler, non-profit media organizations like Vera Files and the Philippine Center for Investigative Journalism, and ABS-CBN being particular targets because of coverage critical of the administration. Many of these media watchdogs have issued statements placing the ABS-CBN broadcast stoppage in the context of systemic attacks against press freedom in the Philippines. The shutdown order was denounced by media groups and people's organizations for being a loss of democracy, freedom of expression, and freedom of the press. Some groups also placed the matter in the context of attacks and harassment aimed at those that criticize the government. Prior broadcast stoppage under Ferdinand Marcos. Prior to the 2020 stoppage, ABS-CBN had been closed down on September 23, 1972, when martial law under Ferdinand Marcos was announced and the station's television and radio stations were sequestered. This stoppage lasted until July 1986, when the sequestered stations were recovered and the frequencies returned to ABS-CBN. During that 14-year period, use of the corporation's frequencies, except EZXL-AM 620, awarded to KBS-RPN as DWWW and DZXL-TV4, awarded to the government-owned National Media Production Center for the launch of government television as DWGT-TV in 1974, was awarded to the Banahaw Broadcasting Corporation, BBC, owned by Marcos crony and sugar plantation owner Roberto Benedicto, and was launched on November 4, 1973. Under martial law, BBC formed a de facto media monopoly with Canlaon Broadcasting System, Radio Philippines Network, KBS, RPN, Intercontinental Broadcasting Corporation, IBC, acquired in 1975, and government-owned government television, Maharlika Broadcasting System, GTV, MBS. The company's headquarters, the ABS-CBN Broadcasting Center, was also sequestered and was renamed as Broadcast Plaza to serve as headquarters of BBC, KBS, RPN, GTV, MBS and, from 1980, the Bureau of Broadcasts BB. Marcos was eventually deposed by the People Power Revolution of February 1986. The revolutionary government which took over later dissolved BBC and returned the frequencies to ABS-CBN in July 1986, eventually resuming broadcast on September 14, 1986. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, like and subscribe. For more information about this topic, stay tuned to Vampire 526 Horizon.